Thank you everybody for joining in with my stretch and strengthen practice. I hope this day finds you well. So we're just going to take a few moments to settle from transitioning from getting here to being here. So let's just take a few breaths to settle. Close your eyes. If you feel that you need to ground, palms facing down. If you feel you need a little bit of feeling uplifted, go ahead and bring your palms facing up. Thank you everybody for on the next inhale, go ahead and open your eyes. Let's anchor into the seat, relaxing at the hip flexors. Just allowing the core to engage so your trunk can uplift, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, go ahead and bring the arms out and up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, lengthen up through the torso, arms out and up. Exhale, hinging forward, lengthening through the torso, really easing into the back. Inhale, lengthen half high. Exhale, hinging forward even further. We're just going to hold here for a moment. Relaxing the torso. Relaxing the breath. Inhaling and exhaling. On the next inhale, go ahead and tuck your tailbone under, rounding up. Go ahead and bring the arms out and up, lengthen. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale up. And exhale, let's go ahead and twist over to the left. Really anchor into the right side so we don't come off that sit bone. Inhale, lengthening up through the center channel. Exhale, let's go ahead and look over the right shoulder and just hold for time, just allowing the breath to lengthen the torso, allowing the twist to massage your internal organs. And we're not feeling any type of clenching or grabbing of the muscles. We're anchoring down as we're lifting up. Inhale, go ahead and bring the arms out and up. Exhale, let's go ahead and twist over to the right, lengthen up through the center channel. Exhale, look over, left shoulder, anchoring the left sit bone. Inhale, lengthening through the torso. Exhale, twisting. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, go ahead and bring the arms out and up, lengthen. Exhale, hinging forward. Inhale, lengthen half high. Exhale, hinging and releasing even further. Again, relaxing the hip flexors. Relaxing the lower back. easy in the breath as it draws deep into the navel. Exhale, hinging. On the next inhale, we're going to tuck the tailbone under and round up, rolling the shoulders, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, out and up, lengthening through the torso. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, up. Exhale, go ahead and bring left hand down, anchor through right sit bone. We're going to just do a nice side stretch. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, deepening into the stretch. Really feeling the breath into the side body on the right side. Inhale, up, and exhale, stretching even further. Inhale, up. Exhale, hinging. We come to our third and final stretch and easing into it, lengthening through the torso. Inhale, slowly rising up, and switch sides. Right hand onto the floor, left palm facing the right side. Inhale, lengthening, unshrug the shoulders, really stretching through the left side body, lengthening through the torso. Exhale, stretching out to the right. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, come a little bit further. Inhale, stretching up, and exhale the third and final time, releasing slowly down. Making sure we're staying anchored in that left sit bone, releasing in the left hip flexor. And we're just going down as far as we're meeting the resistance. The breath is easy and natural. Inhale, slowly rising up, bringing the arms out and up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Let's go ahead and just straighten the legs just for a moment to release into a straight leg forward fold. Just pulling the flesh away from the thighs, anchoring into the sit bones, lengthening up through the torso, drawing the shoulders away from the ears, toes pointing up. A little bit of an internal rotation at the hips, so the knees are in line with the toes. Inhale, lengthening up through the torso. Exhale, hinging forward and releasing. Just a nice, easy forward fold. Just releasing the hamstrings, releasing the hip flexors. One more breath. Go ahead and round up. Bring the arms out and up. Really lengthen the torso as we're anchoring into the sit bones. Exhale, go ahead and bring the hands down to the side into staff pose. So fingertips facing forward, really planting into the mat. Elbows into side body, lifting up the heart, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Really lengthening through the torso. Zipping up the core. Inhale and exhale. On the next inhale, go ahead and draw the left knee into the chest, really relaxing at that hip flexor, trying to even out both sit bones, lengthening up through the torso. Now you can either stay here with a foot planted, left foot planted on the inside, or you can draw it on the outside, as long as both sit bones are as anchored as and even as they can be. So really lengthening up through the torso, maybe tuck the chin in slightly, filling the torso with breath. On the next inhale, go ahead and take The left hand up alongside the ears. Go ahead and twist over to the left. Bring the left hand behind you, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Lengthening up through the torso, and exhale, twist over to the left. Inhale and exhale. Really growing up long through the torso as the shoulders draw away from the ears. And again, noticing where you're holding on and see if you can release that tension. Nice and easy breath. Inhale, go ahead and come back to center. Bring the left leg on the inside, go ahead and straighten it out, and we'll do a nice forward fold. So inhale, lengthening up through the torso. Exhale, hinging forward. And the hands plant wherever they plant. So not trying to pull anywhere, anchoring into the sit bones. Make sure the heels are anchored so we're not hyperextending in the knees. Nice even stretch at the midpoint of the hamstrings. We're not feeling the stretch at the back of the hip or behind the knee. There'd be too much strain on the muscle attachments of the hamstring. Inhale, lengthen, rolling up. And we'll go ahead and draw the right knee into the chest. Now again, evening out those sit bones on the right and left side, lengthening up through the torso. Feeling the breath lengthen the torso as we're anchoring into the sit bone. And go ahead, if it feels okay, go ahead and draw. Bring that right foot on the outside of the left leg. Again, evening in the sit bones, lengthening up through the torso. Go ahead and hold right knee with left hand and lengthen up through the right side of the body, raising the right arm, and go ahead and twist over using the torso first. Twisting over to the right and just gently planting that right hand. So you can lightly have your fingertips and we're really anchored in the sit bones. Zipping up the core, inhale, lengthening, and exhale, gently looking over right shoulder. Inhale and exhale. On the next inhale, go ahead and come back to center. Uncross that right leg extended out. Again, pulling the flesh away from the sit bones if you need to. Lengthening up through the torso, bring the arms out and up. Exhale, hinging forward. And maybe we can go a little bit further as our hamstrings warm up. Inhale, lengthening, but softening at the hip flexors, anchoring through the heels of the feet so we're not hyperextending the knees. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, hinging forward. Rolling up. Bring the arms out and up, really lengthening through the torso. Exhale, hands to heart center. All right, let's go ahead and come on to our hands and knees for a little bit of cat-cow. Planting into the hands, so wrists are slightly ahead of the shoulder. Drawing index finger and thumb to pressing them down and then together. Second knuckles into the floor, pressing into the fingertips. So on the inhale, we're going to flick the tailbone back, arching into cow. Exhale, pressing the floor away, tucking the tailbone under, rounding into cat. So really thinking about articulating one vertebrae at a time. Inhale. And exhale. One more cycle. Come back into a flat back. Go ahead and extend right leg out, left leg out into a plank. Really zipping up the core, pressing the floor away. The hips are in line with the shoulders, in line with the heels. So one long line, so we're not piking up and we're not letting go of the core and sagging down. So tucking the tailbone under, nice zipped up core. Heart lifting, and we're going lengthening in two directions. On the next inhale, we're gonna pike up into downward facing dog. Planting into the hands and breathing here for a moment. Planting into the index finger and thumb. Zipping up the core, softening the hip creases as you put more weight into the feet. On the next inhale, go ahead and look forward. Plant into the right foot, left leg comes up into a one-legged dog. Exhale, go ahead and bring the knee to nose, rounding it forward and sweeping that leg through into a nice long lunge. I'm just going to hold here for a moment, squaring the hips, and we're nice and engaged in the pelvic floor so we're not sagging into our flexibility. Lengthening through the torso, lengthening in two directions. And go ahead and plant that back knee down, pointing the toe. Inhale, lengthening into the torso, drawing the shoulders away from the ears, and planting into the front foot, shifting the weight to the back leg, and maybe we can bring the hands onto the thigh, and really stabilizing the pelvis. Now, if balance is an issue, I'd stay here, but if you feel secure, go ahead and bring the arms out and up, lengthening up through the torso in a nice crescent variation. Heart lifting. Inhale, lengthening. And exhale, go ahead and frame the front foot. Roll the back toe under. Lifting the back knee. Plant the hands onto the floor, step that left leg back, coming back into a plank and holding here just for a moment. And drop the knees down, elbows into side body. And we're just going to come down on knees, chest, chin. So pressing the floor away as we're coming down, protecting those shoulders, and slowly sweeping through into just a baby cobra, pressing the pelvis into the ground, elbows into side body, heart lifting up. Inhale. And exhale, gently coming down, arms alongside the body, pressing up and back into downward facing dog. And holding here for a moment, lengthening through the torso, planting into the ball of big toe, lifting the arch, anchoring into the heel. Inhale and exhale. On the next inhale, go ahead and plant into the left leg. Right leg goes up into a one-legged dog. Exhale, knee to nose, rounding forward and sweeping right leg through. Holding there just for a moment into a runner's lunge. Nice engage in the pelvis, heart lifting and lengthening in two different directions, both front and back. Go ahead and drop the back knee, point the back toe. If you feel secure, go ahead and rise up, interlace the fingers, and press them onto the thigh, lengthening up through the torso. Anchoring into the ball of big toe, lifting the arch, and anchoring into the heel on the front foot. We can stay here if you're working with your balance, otherwise bring the arms out and up, lengthening. Exhale, framing the front foot. Rolling the back toe under, lifting the back knee. Go ahead and press the hands into the floor. Right leg comes back to meet the left into plank. And holding there just for a moment. Dropping the knees down, elbows into side body, and coming into knees, chest, chin, all the way down into the floor, sweeping through, coming into a cobra. And maybe we can come up a little bit higher. Pressing into the pelvis, elbows into side body, drawing the shoulders away from the ears, and lengthening through the upper back into the neck. So no crunching into the neck. So the heart, the cervical vertebrae in the neck are lining up with the upper body. Inhale and exhale. On the next inhale, go ahead and come back up into table and then into downward facing dog. And holding here just for a moment, lengthening through the torso, anchoring into the heels, and shrugging the shoulders. And just settling into the downward dog. Go ahead and look forward and just take several steps to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, folding. On the next inhale, go ahead and bend the knees, rounding up. Bring the arms out and up, lengthen. Exhale, hands to heart center. So we're going to go into our balance sequence, and I want you to just pick your balance. If you're having trouble with stabilizing, I would hold in one posture and grab the wall if you need to before you go on to the next step. So first we're going to find our feet parallel, about 2 fists distance apart, arches lifted, and really zipping up the core, dropping the tailbone down to the floor. So we're going to slowly come over onto the left foot, finding that stabilization, really lengthening up to the left side so we're not collapsing into that hip. And once we find that stabilization, zipping up the core, we're going to draw the right knee into the chest. Now you can bring your left hand onto the hip, and we're just going to hold here. Now if you're working with your stabilization here, I would stay here. Otherwise, maybe we can interlace the fingers underneath the thigh. We're going to press into the thigh, pressing our hands into the thigh and the thigh into the hands, really lengthening up through the torso. Now again, if you're staying here, so go ahead and stay here. Otherwise, maybe we can press into the hands as we lengthen and lower. Just really zipping up the core, really pressing into, we're working the quads and the hamstrings here. Pressing the hands into the hamstrings. Oh, there we go. One more. And then we can hold, really lengthening up through the torso. So this is a good prep for hand to big toe pose without the pressure of actually holding the toe. So you get all the strength without putting any pressure on the joints until you're strong enough. One more breath. So go ahead and bend the knee. Whew. Go ahead and bring that foot down. Walk it out. Lordy, lordy. Yes, that is a doozy. So again, we take our level, and I really recommend finding the foundation first, because if you can strengthen in the foundation, even if it's basic, or if you think it's basic, you will find you will stabilize much quicker and be much safer for your joints over time. Inhale, go ahead and bring the arms out and up, lengthen. Exhale, hinging forward. Really lengthening into a forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Really pressing through the feet, softening at the hip crease. Exhale, folding. If you wish, you can bring your hands back or interlace behind the calves or hold in ragdoll. You pick whatever forward fold feels good for you. On the next inhale, go ahead and bend the knees, rolling up. Bring the arms out and up, lengthen. Exhale, hands to heart center. Other side. All right, let's go ahead and bring the hands alongside the body. We're going to find our Tadasana, our mountain pose first. Really zipping up the core, anchoring through the tailbone, lifting the arches, anchoring ball of big toe into the heel, and slowly coming over onto that right leg. Now we're finding that length first. So as we're lifting that leg up, we're not losing that length. Now we can either hold around the knee or underneath. Really find that ball of big toe on that right leg, and then maybe we can interlace. Zipping up the core, heart lifting. Now we can hold here, otherwise we can press in our hamstring into the hand and the hand into the hamstring and extend it out. So really pressing them together, the push and pull really helps with the stabilization. So lengthening up through the torso. Go ahead and hold. Lengthen. So go ahead and release. Whew. Walk those feet out. Inhale up. Exhale, hinging forward. Inhale, half high, lengthening to the back. And exhale, hinging even further, softening at the hip flexors. Inhale and exhale. And again, maybe releasing behind the legs or happy baby. On the next inhale, go ahead and bend the knees, rolling up. Bring the arms out and up, lengthen. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale up. Exhale, hinging. Inhale, half high. Exhale, folding. Go ahead and step back into a plank. Nice zipped up core, really spreading the shoulder blades down the back. And drop the knees down, elbows into side body, and knees, chest, chin down to the floor. Inhale, go ahead and sweep in through, rising up into cobra. Now if you feel you can rise up a little bit more, go ahead. Put elbows into side body to protect the shoulders, heart lifting, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale and exhale, go ahead and roll it down. On the next inhale, bring the hands alongside the body, coming up into table. Exhale, go ahead and shift hips to heels, back into a child's pose, release. And kind of rock from side to side, releasing the tension in the back. And the next inhale, slowly coming up into table. Now we're going to work with a little side plank sequence. So Everybody has, if you have shoulder issues, I'm going to do the modified version first, and then we will kind of build from there. All right, so go ahead and come into table. Coming back into plank, really lengthening through the torso, zipping up the core, heart shining forward, and we're lengthening 2 directions. Now go ahead and drop down the right knee and bring it forward. So it's just slightly forward in front of the hip, because when we balance, it's going to be a lot easier to balance instead of having it right under the hip. Go ahead and drop that back foot at a 90-degree angle, planting in the ball of big toe, and coming up onto the left fingertips. Now you can kickstand that right leg behind you if you need a little bit of stability. So go ahead and bring the left hand to the left hip and open the torso out to the left. Now pressing in through the foot and the right leg, and slowly maybe we can come up into kind of a warrior 2 variation on the ground. So we're going to bring the arms out into a T, really anchored into that back foot, lifting up that arch. Now flipping that left palm, bringing the right arm up alongside, and we'll do kind of a reverse warrior variation. Now inhale, go ahead and switch. So we're going to bring that right hand down and shift forward, so you can come onto the fingertips or the fists, you pick. Then we're going to come up into a balance. So we're going to lift that back leg up. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, go ahead and plant that foot back, putting more weight to that back foot, coming up into warrior 2 variation. Flip the back palm, reverse warrior. Then we'll switch and come back. Now, very in control, bringing that right hand forward, and we'll come up into kind of a half moon variation on the floor. So if you're working on your half moon and you're having issues with balance, go ahead and switch, coming up into warrior 2, and then switch back into reverse warrior. This is a really good way to stabilize before you come up onto the leg. One more hold into the balance. And exhale, coming back down. Now we can either stay here into that side plank with the knee down variation. Make sure we have our hand in front slightly, not locking into the shoulder or the elbow. Then we can either hold here, really spreading the shoulder blades, engaging through the core. Otherwise, we can shoot that bottom leg, the right leg back, and stagger into a side plank. Now we don't want to sag into the obliques on the right side. We want to really engage those up, really spreading through the shoulders, pressing into the index finger and thumb so we're not jamming into the palm, really lengthening. Then exhale, go ahead and shift forward. Coming into a plank, lengthening in 2 directions, dropping the knees down, elbows into side body. Coming down, knees, chest, chin. Rising up into cobra, again, elbows into side body. Maybe we can go a little bit farther. And exhale, coming down and rest. Palms facing down, go ahead and look over the left shoulder and release. Arms alongside the body, or palms facing up. Just surrendering into the floor. On the next inhale, go ahead and come back to center. Bring the hands alongside the body. Coming back up in through table, and then up into downward facing dog. Really lengthen. To see if we can lengthen the right and left sides, the torso, zipping up the core, softening in the hip crease, really shifting the weight back into the feet, the hips lifting up. Go ahead and slowly come down into table. We'll do the other side. So coming actually into plank. Really zipping up that core. Dropping the left knee down. Bring the left knee forward in front of the hip. And go ahead and plant the back foot down at a 90 and stacking the right hip on top of the left. Again, we can kickstand that left foot out. Right hand on top of right hip, and we're going to open up out to the right. Go ahead and lift that right hand up. Now planting more, zipping up the core, planting more into that back foot, coming up onto the fingertips on that front hand, and slowly rise up into a warrior two. Flip the palms and reverse the warrior. Nice and zipped up core, inhale, coming back through warrior two, reaching out, fingertips, zipped up core, lifting that back leg into a half moon variation. Slowly planting that back foot down, zipping up the core all the while. Nice and controlled, flip the palm, reverse warrior. So we're really stretching through the side body. Exhale, transitioning down. Inhale up. Exhale. One more. And go ahead and plant that foot down, planting the hand down or the fist, and really spreading the shoulder blades, really lengthening in two directions. Now we can either hold here if we feel good with our wrists, if we feel good with our core, maybe we can straighten out that left leg. And we'll stagger the feet, left foot in front of right foot, on the sides, really lengthening through the torso. Broadening across the back, again engaging in the oblique on the left side. And exhale, transition back into plank. Dropping the knees down. Elbows in the side body, knees, chest, chin, all the way down. And then growing that cobra. Pelvis pressing evenly. Exhale, coming all the way down. Palms facing up, go ahead and look over the right shoulder. Slowly coming back to center, rounding up, shifting hips to heels, coming into a child's pose. On the next inhale, go ahead and rise up into table. We're going to go ahead and take a seat. So go ahead and take a seat on the long side of the mat. Extend left leg out at a 45. bending the right knee in. Really making sure that even in this posture, this uneven posture, just make sure that the sit bones are as even as you can make them. And anchor into the heel on the extended leg, pressing the hands into the knees, lengthening up through the torso. So we're going to do a nice seated triangle stretch here. Just find a length in the torso first, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Go ahead and take the left hand, or the right hand, and press it into the right thigh, and bring the left hand on the inside of the left leg. Really anchoring through that right sit bone, and we're going to twist our torso over towards the right a little bit. And we're just taking the shape here. Nice and easy. It's a nice time to have a block on the inside. If we're feeling a little bit of a stretch in our side body on the right side and the hamstring on the left. So lengthening up through the torso. And then maybe we can stretch a little bit over towards the left and just kind of nestling in, just taking your time. And maybe we just press our right hand in to keep that right leg quiet, because that right leg sometimes likes to come up. But it's really about the stretch in the right side body, lengthening through the torso, really breathing into that side body. Now if it feels okay, maybe we can bring that right hand up. But the right wrist is, we're not hyperextending it out, where we have that wrist slightly in front of the shoulder. It's more about a torso move. We're more lengthening through the torso. And the neck is aligned with the rest of the spine. Really settling into this twist, into this triangle variation. Nice and heavy in the sit bones. On the next inhale, we're going to rise up. Nice and easy. Just kind of settle there for a moment. Inhale, lengthening up through the torso. Bring the hands out in front. Now we're going to anchor into that left heel so we don't hyperextend in that left knee. So lengthening up to the torso, nice and even. The sit bones, we're just going to walk it forward. Again, we're going to just gently take the shape until our body meets that resistance. So we're not rounding here. We have a nice long torso. And it's really about hinging at the hip flexor, anchoring into that left heel, lengthening. And over time, you'll notice that you begin to surrender a little bit more, and maybe you can walk it out a little bit more. But again, it's just nice and easy. You're just taking your level. And we're just meeting the resistance. We're not going beyond it. On the next inhale, we're just going to walk it back up. Rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Go ahead and bring left hand under left knee. Kind of hug that knee into the chest. Just releasing that hip flexor. You can round into it. Rocking from side to side. Slowly coming up. Now we're going to switch sides. So go ahead and bring the left leg bent in, right leg extends. You can lift and plant. Make sure the sit bones are nice and even. Bring the hands on the inside of the knees, really anchoring through the sit bones, lengthening up through the torso, zipping the core. And slowly we're just going to come into a triangle. So anchoring through that heel on the right side so we're not hyperextending in the knee. And slowly just stretching out towards the left as we're planting into, or the right as we're planting into the left bent leg. We're lengthening through the torso, and we're kind of twisting over to the left a little bit, not collapsing into the torso, just allowing our side body to stretch. And you can even breathe into the side body there. And slowly, again, block on the inside if necessary. You can extend it out until we find a nice, comfortable place to be able to surrender. Now, if we need to keep this left leg quiet, I recommend just kind of pressing left hand into left thigh, and that will also help give you a little bit of traction so you can lengthen through the torso. But if you feel good there, maybe you can bring left hand up. Again, not hyperextending. We want that wrist right in front of the shoulder, really lengthening through the torso. We're finding just as much length on the right side as we are on the left. On the next inhale, slowly rise up and even press the floor away. With the left hand, slowly draw the right knee into the chest, just kind of giving it a little bit of a squeeze, softening that hip flexor, lifting up through the heart. Slowly rolling onto your back. Hug the knees into the chest, rocking from side to side. Go ahead and plant the left leg down. Hug the right knee into the chest. Allowing the back to release. Go ahead and extend. Left leg long. On the next inhale, go ahead and take left hand on the outside of the right thigh. And go ahead and bring the right hand out to the side. Palm facing up. And we're going to peel the right leg over, crossing it over the midline, and peel it over to the left. Now that right hip comes up off the ground, but the right shoulder stays anchored. So if that shoulder's coming up, it's just your body telling you that it has found its edge. So we're just going to stay there. And slowly just allowing the twist to surrender. The longer you stay here, the more your body will release. Just allow it to surrender, releasing any tension. On the next inhale, go ahead and come up. Hug right knee into the chest as we're extending the left leg out long. Go ahead and plant the right leg down, flatten the back, draw the left leg up into the chest. Hug the left knee in, extending the right leg out. Once we surrender, Go ahead and take right hand on outside of left thigh. Bring the left hand out to the side, palm facing up, and peel that left leg off the floor and twist it over towards the right. Again, left arm staying planted. Look over to the left, if that feels okay with the neck, and just allowing the body to release. Inhale, go ahead and come back up. Hug the knee in. Flat the back. Go ahead and draw the right knee in. And just rock from side to side. Go ahead and plant the feet onto the ground. We're going to keep that right leg planted. We're going to cross the left ankle over right thigh and externally rotate at the hip on the, so we're going to come into a figure 4 variation. So this is a nice cobra prep. So you pick your level here. So if you have a tight hip, this may be where you're at. So we're going to keep the torso nice and even, the pelvis nice and even, planted into the right foot. Now if you feel okay here, maybe you can flatten the back, zip up the core, and lift the right leg. So we're bringing the left leg in. Now you can thread the needle and interlace around the right thigh. You can either bring it around the right thigh or the right shin. Again, you pick. Right shin is going to be a little bit more intense. And around the right thigh is actually pretty intense. So again, we're not feeling any stress in the knee. This is all in the hip. And we're making sure that that left leg is not sickled, like you could stand on that foot. And we're just surrendering into the floor. Go ahead and release and plant right foot down. So we're just going to kind of twist from side to side. So slowly, still keeping that figure 4. And we're going to twist over to the right, kind of wind chill wipering a little bit, and then twist over to the left. Just making sure our shoulders stay anchored. Nice and easy. Releasing that hip, and we're also releasing the torso. Go ahead and come back up. Now we're going to switch sides. Plant left foot, cross right ankle over left thigh, and we're just going to hold here. Again, if you have a tight hips, this is a really good variation. We can take our right hand even and press into that right thigh, not the knee, but the thigh, and that will help kind of stretch out not only that right hip flexor, but also the right side body, especially if you feel it bunching up. So we can either hold here, otherwise we can flatten the back, zip up the core, hug that left knee into the chest, and thread the needle. Right hand goes through the hole, left hand on the outside, and we can either interlace behind the thigh or around the shins. Now, if your shoulders are coming up and rounding, I would definitely take around the thigh variation. So see if you can get those shoulders on the floor. No sickling in the foot again. And just surrendering. Just going to take a few breaths here. Go ahead and release the foot. Uncross, or actually, let's do the windshield wiper. So still keep that right leg crossed. Figure 4, and we're just going to sway from side to side, keeping the shoulders planted. And we're only twisting as much as our body is allowing us, and allows our shoulders to stay planted on the floor. Go ahead and come back up, uncross, and hug the knees into the chest, rocking from side to side. And if there's anything that you would like to do at the end of your practice to complete your practice, you can go ahead and do so. If you want to do a nice dead bug, you can do a dead bug, or a happy baby, or a bridge pose. You can go ahead and do a bridge pose. Otherwise, just extend the legs long. Allow the feet to roll out, palms facing up. And relaxing into Shavasana. Feeling yourself grounded into the floor. Your breath is nice and easy and relaxed. On the next inhale, go ahead and bring your awareness back to your body. Wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. Go ahead and bring the arms out and up. Lengthen through the torso, interlace the fingers, turn the palms out, really stretching out long as you're pointing the toes, and a nice full body stretch. Go ahead and stretch left, stretch right, stretch back to center. And flatten the back, planting one foot in the other, hugging the right knee into the chest, left knee into the chest, rocking from side to side until we can roll over onto our right side into a fetal position, cradling the head. Just holding there for a moment. On the next inhale, go ahead and press the floor away, allow your head to hang, bringing the right arm underneath, and slowly coming up into a seated position. As always, an honor and a pleasure leading you practice today. And I wish you all to have a beautiful rest of your day and weekend. Namaste.